What's up, movie lovers, and welcome back to the Lucid Nightmare. I'm your host as always, Jay Schatzer, and today I've got another top 10 list lined up for us. It is going to be really fun, really out there, goes across all kinds of genres. Guys, it's going to be my top 10 guilty pleasures. And yeah, there's going to be some embarrassing ones on there, but I don't give a damn because I love these movies through and through. I will defend them to my death. Hopefully I don't have to, but guys, it's really going to be a fun one, so let's just strap in and get ready for the ride. Here is my top 10 guilty pleasures. Starting off the list at number 10 is the Frank Marshall directed jungle adventure, Congo. Filled to the brim with a fantastic cast and a wildly ambitious approach, this Michael Crichton movie adaptation boasts a streamlined production that honestly places you smack dab into a marvelous, untamed adventure, with dangers around every corner and adventure aplenty. With fantastic performances by Laura Linney, Dylan Walsh, Ernie Hudson, Tim Curry, and a blink and you'll miss it cameo by the legendary Bruce Campbell, it's easy to say that this film has a tremendous cast that does wonders with the material. Sadly, the movie didn't do so well when it hit theaters in 1995, and audiences just weren't digging the misadventures of Amy, the talking gorilla, and her friends. But for me, it was a blast a minute, which holds my attention from beginning to chaotic end. The quotes from this movie are legendary, and I personally can't get enough of this wild, rough and tumble Congo adventure. Up next at number 9 is the Laugh Riot horror slasher Dr. Giggles. Directed by Manny Coto and headlined by the wonderfully expressive and madman lunatic Larry Drake. This early 90s horror romp does a remarkably great job with such a silly and tongue-in-cheek premise. The atmosphere of the picture is top-notch, and the idea of a mad doctor on the loose killing and maiming people as he performs various odd procedures and surgeries is worth the price of admission. And it's all done in a kind of whimsical fashion that never takes away from the sadistic side of things. With Larry Drake at his most demented, and newcomer Holly Mary Combs in the starring heroine role, there's much to love about this silly slasher flick, and there's countless moments of remarkable weirdness that will keep you coming back for more and lamenting the lunacy. Without a doubt, Dr. Giggles is silly, harmless fun. Coming to life at number 8 is the tremendously endearing and hopelessly silly 80s romantic comedy Mannequin. A flick I grew up with and for some reason can't get enough of. With a fabulous cast of wild characters and a premise that could only take place in the 80s, this strange production really just has a spirit of fun and fantasy that you just can't help getting lost in. The central stars Andrew McCarthy and Kim Cattrall excel as the romantic leads, and supporting cast Estelle Getty, Massage Taylor, and G.W. Bailey do a phenomenal job in filling in this weird world of mannequins coming to life. I know it's cheesy and I know it's more than ridiculous, but there's just something special about this flick, and I had to put it on the list of guilty pleasures that I can't deny tickle my fancy. If you're looking for a romantic evening with a ton of laughs, then Mannequin has got your heartfelt comedic hookup. Devouring its way to number 7 is the insane Italian zombie horror gorefest Zombie 3. Crafted in batshit crazy fashion by Lucio Fulci and Bruno Mattei, this late 80s monstrosity throws good taste right out the window in favor of cheesy dialogue, chaotic awkward action, and buckets of over-the-top gory goodness. Filmed in the Philippines and done embarrassingly cheap, this low-budget stunner pretty much just goes balls to the wall in its lunacy, making for an interesting zombie flick that plays by its own set of ever-changing rules and really doesn't give a shit about the consequences. Fun to the very last reel, Zombie 3 is a perfect example of the Italian zombie craze reaching maximum capacity, as it literally throws everything it has at its audience, as it almost perfectly stumbles into camp spoof territory. If you're looking for a good time and you dig the Italian zombie craze of the 80s, then you owe it to yourself to check out this bizarrely entertaining undead flick. Soaking up the number 6 spot is the epic aquatic post-apocalyptic adventure flick Waterworld. Directed by Kevin Reynolds and starring 90s superstar Kevin Costner, this blockbuster production unfortunately ballooned over budget thanks to a plethora of problems on set, resulting in it failing to recoup enough from the box office when it debuted in 1995. even though it's sunk like a stone. In my mind, it is an unabashed stunner of an experience, and one that captures a true magic that can only be seen on the silver screen. The look and feel of the cinematic world of Waterworld is top-notch, and the inventive way in which they replaced the normal bleak desert apocalyptic landscapes with a vibrant and flooded earth was an intriguing touch, and an approach that set it out from the normal productions of its kind. Often whimsical and high on adventure, Waterworld is a real treat, and it's one that I love to revisit over and over again. Just when you thought it was safe to go to SeaWorld, number 5 proves that terror can find you anywhere with Jaws 3D. Veering away from the believability and simplistic concept that the series laid its foundations on, the third entry of the series drops us smack dab in the middle of a theme park and lets Jaws just run amok with reckless abandon. Filmed by Joe Alves and performed by an enthusiastic cast, this 1983 produced cinematic black sheep truly goes off the rails and completely nutty as we witness the total bedlam and absurd silliness that would happen if a giant killer great white shark began going on a wild frenzy within the grounds of SeaWorld. As entertaining and thrilling as the concept is, the end result is something of an oddity, blending the traditional Jaws mayhem with something of an obscure disaster flick. Add on top of that the ludicrous idea of 3D, and you've got yourself the perfect recipe for schlock cinema and a hell of a fun time at the movies. Coming in at number 4 is the sensational science fiction satire Starship Troopers. Directed by the genre heavyweight filmmaker Paul Verhoeven, and headlined by a fresh-faced cast of young actors and actresses, this wild late 90s space opera does a fantastic job in bringing on the satirical wit, along with an imposing mean streak that doesn't shy away from the gore and violence that Verhoeven is known for. With special effects that still hold up today, and an interesting story and hardened world surrounding it, Starship Troopers is a unique brand of sci-fi that truly forges its own path in unorthodox and entertaining ways. Though it was received with mixed reviews when it first hit theaters, the film has cultivated a healthy fan base, which has grown to love its uncharacteristic charm and whimsical stab at fascism. If you're in need of an outrageous cinematic experience, and you love Paul Verhoeven's larger-than-life visual style, then give this one a go. It's one hell of a bloody good time. Stumbling in at number 3 is the fever dream of a flick, 2006's The Wickerman remake. Totally insane in every sense of the word, and bewilderingly hilarious. Bordering on a comedy, this unhinged production literally loses its mind, thanks to the outstandingly expressive performance of its main star Nicolas Cage, and director Neil LaBute's tendency to throw out the concepts in the original 1973 film and just go batshit crazy. Supercharged with a mentally unbalanced atmosphere and bankrupt when it comes to couth and morals, this delightfully devilish picture marches to its own beat, with unexpected and frighteningly satisfying results. Even though the production totally fails on all levels when it comes to remaking a classic horror thriller, it miraculously manages to make for a cinematic experience that will thoroughly entertain you from beginning to end. The performances are bizarre, the story structure is schizophrenic, and the overall feel of the flick is wickedly touched in the head, and I wouldn't have it any other way. If you like weird cinema on a high budget, you've just found your B-movie messiah. Thawing out into the number 2 spot is the action-packed sci-fi flick Demolition Man. Splicing comedy with over-the-top moments and a dash of satire, this early 90s powerhouse is drenched in fun, thanks to the commendable efforts of its headlining stars Sylvester Stallone and Wesley Snipes. Bringing the pain, catchy one-liners, and pulse-pounding sequences, the dynamic duo light up the screen and kick all kinds of ass, as they battle it out in a futuristic landscape that can't contain the awesomeness of these two action superstar juggernauts. Perfectly balanced in its comedy and action, Demolition Man is a real treat for lovers of old-school sci-fi action, and the premise and overall tonal approach of director Marco Brambilla and crew is top-notch and insanely addictive in its fun qualities. Whether you're a fan of Stallone or a lover of Snipes, there's so much to love about this flick, and the total package that this production offers is without a doubt outstanding. It will boggle your mind and tickle your funny bone, all with a tongue-in-cheek approach that absolutely entertains. Coming in at the absolute top of the ranks of guilty pleasure greatness is the long-lost late 80s action flick Miami Connection. Like a video game on crack set to 100, this production excels in bringing on the heart and soul of the 80s, along with a kick-ass soundtrack that perfectly captures the spirit of the film and the vividly outrageous atmosphere that it imbues. Clumsily put together and baffling when it comes to acting, this larger-than-life B-movie explodes onto the screen with fiery fight sequences and mind-blowingly weird scenes aplenty. If Double Dragon, Streets of Rage, and Ninja Gaiden had a cinematic love child, Miami Connection would be it. And I instantly fell in love with this ludicrous production the second I set eyes on it. It's laughable and truly outrageous, and probably one of the most enjoyable times I've had with a movie in a long, long while. And that's due to the sheer spectacle and puzzling presentation of this cult classic flick. If you've let this film pass you by or have just written it off as a run-of-the-mill 80s action picture, don't. There's a strange optimism and infectious appeal to this flick that just can't be pegged down or reasoned with. It's a wonderful cinematic production of a video game sprung to life, and the sense of 80s fun is drenched in every frame of this totally bizarre action movie. In summary, my #1 guilty pleasure film is this beautiful bastard of an oddity, and I have absolutely zero regrets. And there you have it, you beautiful bastards. Thanks for sticking with me through that long list of ridiculous flicks, and hopefully it wasn't too embarrassing for myself, and maybe possibly some of you out there appreciate these films as much as I do. Doubt it, but I hope there's somebody out there that's weird like me. But guys, that is it for me today. Hope you enjoyed that video of the top 10 guilty pleasures, and hope you like what I'm doing here. If you do, please like and subscribe. And if you have time, leave a comment below because I'd love to hear from you. But until then, I will see you guys at the next movie review top 10 list or collection video. So see you then, and get the hell out of my house. Later.